we have ourselves PSI Ristars, I hopefully said that right, versus 2d20 Sapper Squad. Now, both these teams are part of the Division I. Hopefully, they get to give us a pretty good show. Like I said, Drumline does kind of feature stuff to be a long-range map. I would be surprised if they're doing that, just because it goes back and forth. Like, it's more of a gimmick, or it feels like sometimes it's more of a gimmick if you don't really get your value out of the mech. So in those kind of intents and purposes, having stuff that just gets value is always going to be better. What I mean by that, it's like a long-range mech might be able to zone out part of the map, it might be able to hurt the enemy, but if the enemy's playing smart, they're not going to let themselves get farmed, right? So either the long-range mech has to be in the most perfect position ever, or it's going to have to be okay with moving, and it can be very taxing. Now, if you bring a brawl mech or a mid-range kind of mech, you have a little bit easier time at least getting to the situation. I usually don't say that for brawl, but again, for a 6v6 format, brawl could go hard. All right, so it looks like we're starting with Team 1. So this is, again, PSI Ristars being Snowman in the Charger 1A1, Rabbit in the Fleet 19, Gwen Moraine, sorry, Locust 1V, another Charger by Sync, I Am Wheat with a Cyrus 1P, and another Fleet 19. So we're seeing two Fleas and a Locust, and our first Assaults on the first drop, which are two Chargers looking for the small laser build with a large X-Pulse. All the Fleet 19s probably run some kind of Daco. The Locust 1V is a Capital light mech with AMS machine guns and a medium X-Pulse. Let's double check on the Fleet 19 to make sure that they're running the max shot. They sure are indeed. And last but not least, the Cyrus 1P high DPS mech, and sure it is running the high DPS build. Now, very quickly, because the thing's going to kick off super fast, we have Sapper Squad being Hyler and the Locust Pirates Painter, or the Peanut Butter, coming in to get some info for your smallest two heavy machine guns. We see a Cyrus 4D by a Taurus. Looks like probably a brawl. 60 ER medium, so a little bit of skirmish. Some Blackhawks coming in, 6 small pulse, 10 ER small. A champion to 5 ER lasers, and another Blackhawk with 8 small pulses. And we have last mech being a Fleet 17, probably running small laser trade, close combat damage. And that is indeed accurate. Ooh, 2 medium pulse, 5 smalls. All right, let's see what happens. Looks like this Fleet over here is going to have a hard time fighting 2 Fleet 19s. It should not win that exchange, so this could be really fast. We do see the Locust is being chased off by Ristars right now. If Fleet 17 does want to get out, it should be slightly faster, but those shots are going to hurt. And there's a back shot towards Funky, trying to peel away from that fight. Now, they would have support, and there it is. The Blackhawks coming in, trying to see if they can catch them off. So these Fleet 19s could be in a pickable situation. UAV coming out from PSI or Ristars, so they do know these Blackhawks are coming in close. They're going to try to exit out if they can, or they're going to have to fight it for themselves. But again, we have 5 mechs now being dedicated with the champion, keeping the rest of the enemy team at least down the low ground. Let's see if these Fleet 19s can get out. Alright, definitely the fight is initiated. Some good damage on Funky. These 2 Fleet 19s definitely getting in what they can for value-wise. Their first heavy mech, the Blackhawk, is now in, running a very dangerous close-range fight, but still going to get these shots, and Fleet 19s are super hard to kind of pinpoint your shots, so let's see if they can clean it up. I mean, there is 5 versus 2. These Fleet 19s have a lot of work ahead of them. We got the first leg coming out of Mandalorian. Mandalorian now legged and taken out. Funky's still trying to trade with the Rabbit. Rabbit just taking good shots wherever they can. Looks like the Rabbit is still going, still moving around. Lots of laser fire hitting them, though. It's going to be very difficult to get out of this fight, or at least get some value if they can. We do have maybe an overheat from Scrappy, but we do see the other leg coming out of Rabbit, and Rabbit is going to go down. So a lot of dedication to pick up these 2 light mechs, but in a 6v6 format, every loss is felt keenly, and even more so in this particular situation. I Am Wheat is trying to see if they can get some info where the rest of the big tonnage is going out. 1080 Ceres taking overheat damage, though, taking exchange fire. All this time, the big tonnage is going to be kind of squared away. They're not super able to engage on this. They did take over the Theta. They did not send their Locust to get Gamma, and their Ceres was trying to get scouting info. So they're kind of okay with sitting this Theta. They do have the point lead as of right now. And 2d20 Sapper Squad, while they did get 2 picks, they do have to either engage on this fight, or they have to make sure that the kills are... Like, they have to take another cap, or they have to make sure they push on the pressure, because of the fact that they got 2 kills. So let's see what they do. Right now, Sapper Squad pretty fresh as far as their tonnage goes. The weakest mech is indeed the Fleet 17, being at 64%. Champion still trying to trade with them. It's cool to see one of the champions because they did get a recent quirk changes. The 3N, I believe, has some pretty nice long range trades. So a 5 yards laser could be pretty devastating. Looks like there is going to be engagement over Theta. Now, these Chargers don't mind this. The Chargers actually would like to be in a small fight. High Roller and the Locust Peanut Butter trying to get some back shots, trying to get some value. Distracting the Chargers so they can Pop Tart. Tori is full sending it with their Osiris, getting era medium damage. Looks like everyone's okay with the trades, but the large pulse for the Chargers could do a lot of work. But they also want to be in small range fire. Scrappy seems to be the focus of the Osiris 1B. Osiris 1B is being a little aggressive to the exchange, and therefore gets double legged as the Osiris 48 and Blackhawk with Champion Overwatch can help out with that. Looks like the call push was made by the Sapper Squad as they're now pushing in. Focus fire seems to be a difficult thing right now for PSI Ristars to focus on. They have a Locust fighting the Locust. They have the Charger trying to shoot off the Osiris while being harassed by the Blackhawk. Sync does indeed get the Blackhawk as was coming in, so Sync and that Charger went down to 53% for that exchange. Did get legged in that as well. Gwen Moraine trying their best to peel off for their Charger, is chasing that Locust piloted by High Roller as hard as they can. The Charger is one touch right leg. Let's see if Funky gets it. Funky indeed does pick it up. So now it's down to Gwen Moraine in that last Locust 1B. Unfortunately, a nice little back shot somersaulted it into death. And there we have it. So both these teams played pretty well. I like the idea of the Sigma Cap, and PSI Ristars definitely were trying to bring it, because if you look at the right side, a lot of those mechs by 2d20 Sapper Squad were indeed beaten up quite a bit. 80% for this Charger was the highest health one, but all these other mechs undoubtedly, yeah, ready to pop, ready to die. So it might seem like a easy sweep, or not an easy sweep, but a very clean sweep by 2d20 Sapper Squad. That was close. They could have lost a lot of the mechs towards the end of the fight. So top damage coming out of 2d20 being Canadian Saris, 517 damage. That $5 laser champion doing great work, and 472 damage coming at Snowman in the Charger 1A1. The large expulse is definitely getting a lot of good farm damage. And small laser is definitely for a lot of critical, important damage. So Polar Highlands, again, the caps are going to be Gamma, Theta, and Kappa. A lot of teams to be kind of focusing on the Theta fight, Theta push. So we'll see if that is the same case here. If there's going to be any sniper holes towards Gamma, which has got a high sniper ridge that a lot of teams like to potentially utilize. Kappa's a little bit out of nowhere, but it's very easy to put some damage on mechs coming to and from Kappa. Wait for these teams to load in. They're taking their sweet time. Those dropships don't they don't pay them enough, the pilots, so they don't really come when they're supposed to come. We just gotta wait a little bit. But yeah, Polar Highlands, big old map. Those 20 tenders might be pretty useful on this map that they brought in for Ristars. Let's see if they bring something similar or something different entirely. Again, Brawl can definitely happen, long range can happen, but it's difficult to pull it off on this map, especially because of all the different types of hill cover that you have around you. It's very difficult to getting, or it's not very difficult to getting close if that is your game plan. While long range shooters want big open fields, and some of the spots are a little bit harder to maintain than others. All right, so this is gonna be Sapper Squad coming in and see what kind of team that they decided to bring for us today. We have ourselves some interesting assortments already. We have a Blackjack 1X by High Roller, Laser Vomit, Raven 3L with Rocket Launcher, Ear Medium, and Binary Cannon. We have a Wolfhound with 5 medium pulse, 1 ear small, coupled in by a Marauder 4A, Laser Vomit, Binary Ear Medium. Another Marauder 4A, Ear Medium, Binary Cannon, and a Stalker 4N, Binary Cannon, Ear Medium. So a lot of mid-range Laser Vomit kind of hot builds, so you do not want to brawl, which is going to be interesting because for PSI Ristars, they're bringing mid-range as well, kind of, but a little different. So they got the Crusader Krail, Hero Mech, 10 machine guns, 4S from 6, great DPS. The Duelist, oh, they did go, oh, so they're going for Brawl. They do LB20s with 2 small pulses, another Crusader 60, 2 snubs, 12 smalls, another Crusader, this one 60, 2 snubs, 12 smalls. The Jaeger Mech comes again, 2 LB20s, and another Jaeger Mech, LB20s. So they want a close range fight. They have the firepower to really murk some stuff up. What 2d20 Sapper Squad needs is to get the scouting for this one. Because if they don't get the scouting, those Marauders will get pinched, and they will get pinched hard. Right now, it's going to be just about the positioning, about the commitment. What Ristars needs to do is they just need to find the enemy. They have no scouting, so it's going to be difficult for them to do so. They need to find the enemy, and they need to close that distance. The more time Sapper Squad has to set up and realize what they're fighting against and spread out, the damage is going to be really difficult for them to push in. But once they push in, that's all they gotta do. They just gotta push in. They gotta find right now where Sapper Squad is set up, push into them, make it to where they have to overheat in order to do damage. The Wolfpack for 2d20 is running something very similar. Like, the Wolfhound 2 is the only real I can get in close and do combat damage without overheating quickly, but still fighting Beam Pulse. They did get buffed, but still the same exchange. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It looks like PSI Ristars is being smart about this. They don't have the easy info gathering, so they're trying to take positions where they can see this. They did get the first spot on the Marauders, so now they know where they are. These Marauders are wisely S-king back. The Blackjack might be in a difficult spot, but again, right now the range gambit is towards 2d20 Sapper Squad. The more times that these Mechs and what Mayu Crusaders peak, the more damage that 2d20 can get out. The snub-nosed PPCs might offer a little bit of duality to help out Ristars. The Mechs can't hurt out at least some of the damage. Airstrike coming in. Let's see if it gets a nasty hit. Oh, ooh, a little taste, a little pink. A little paint game peeled off right there. Another thing that Side Stars could do is that they could try to see if they could secure a cap. But again, they don't really have any quick mechs. Like, the Crusader 60s have the potential to go 90k each. I think that is like, I don't know if they would have opted for more heat sinks or something. But they do have mechs that could take the Kappa point. 2d20 has the advantage right now. They maybe don't know it, that they have a Wolfpack that could just take all the side caps and force this fight to happen. But I don't know if they would want that. Maybe they are okay with Sapper Squad just taking their time with it. I mean, Sapper Squad is in the lead barely with some points. Alright, looks like Side Star is looking, or Ristars is looking for a little bit of peek, trying to get in close. Holler to Blackjack 1X. I mean, the mech put out a lot of damage, but 6 LB20s is definitely going to delete that mech. Yeah, Side Stars is playing the smart. I mean, yes, they don't have a win con right now. They only have the 1 cap lead, but they're not necessarily in a bad situation. They want to see if they can goad Sapper Squad into coming closer to get that value. I mean, they are taking okay trades now into the Blackjack. I mean, it's still relatively fine. Yeah, it looks like Ristars is trying to play the patient game, but also would love to get an angle if they can. I mean, they do have these Crusaders with some of those PPCs. They could try to pop dart into that laser bomb and see if they can get the value. Sapper Squad, I think the biggest thing that's helping them out right now is the amount of Wolfpack light mechs they have. So they have 2 light mechs, well, the Wolfhound 2 and the Raven. Heavier set of light mechs, but light mechs. They're able to kind of get the scouting info and keep them uncomfortable. And it looks like they might even be going for a Kappa play here in a second. We'll have to wait and see how that transpires. Well, again, Side Stars just wants to get in close, but they don't like the fire lane that they saw. Oh, here's an interesting development. So Ristars is still just setting up in the center, trying to see if they can goad the enemy team to get in closer. We do see Commander Salad overwatching for their Wolfhound, Shays. They do now see the Crusader coming out. Does get some backshots on the Crusader. The Wolfhound could re-peek about this. The Wolfhound did look like they were going for Kappa, but didn't want to get in a cut-out position, so they had to Raven by Commander Salad give the Overwatch, and the Overwatch damage definitely significant enough to force Storming to go back. Mandalorian deciding, oh, okay, we have a annoying mech up here. Well, let's go and engage upon that, right? This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I like the ebb and flow of the fight. The Kappa is going to get flipped over by Sapper Squad, so they will have a 2-cap lead. Looks like Stoneman communicated to Mando where the Raven was, but the Raven either sensing that danger or just knew that, hey, the mech was there, could be coming to me, I don't have that info. Or the Marauders actually probably scouted it. Consider where the Marauders are. Oh, this could be a dangerous spot for Sapper Squad. So they are playing aggressive, which is what Ristars wants. They want them to play aggressive so that they can get closer with their damage. Now it's going to be up to Ristars to actually take this pain and punishment. Commander Salad still being annoying, that Raven. They do have the capital lead from Sapper Squad. They are coming back by getting on a side angle with Shay's Dark Flame. So right now, if you can see from the minimap, Ristars is surrounded on all sides. Mandalorian trying to get some value, trying to get a push in. See if they can encourage their team to do the same. But a lot of these Mechs are pretty beat up, and they're probably not super excited about sharing more of the armor than they already have. I like some of the position that's coming out, though, from side sources. They're seeing they can wrap around. Looks like some are peeling back to deal with the wolf pack so they don't get crushed in the middle. Sink's the freshest one out of all the heavy tonnage. Mando is getting in the back, but unfortunately does get scattered out by it. Trying to get in close, but unfortunately the arms are not quite as arm-mounted friendly as you'd like it to be. So you will have to back up to get those shots out, but they're definitely in their optimal, so a couple of shots onto these guys will be pretty devastating. Cyrus is down to 67%. Looks like they will be forced to push back from this, not wanting to engage on it. High Roller might let themselves get fallen into the trap. One touch CT, but it seems like High Roller is okay with this aggression. Want to get a little more value. Also, just realized that we can't see the cap timer anymore. Let me fix that. There we go. So 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in the clock. With 2d20 Sapper Squad barely in the lead. We have our first kill. It looks like a Taurus was able to pick up. Oh, picked up the Jaeger back in the far back. That was some Marauder that is, or the Stalker set up right here. These Jaegermechs are looking to go up. Sync does pick up the kill on Shades, which is moving up as well. Taurus does finish out the other Jaegermech, Crusader 60, very low, trying to survive long enough to help their teammates move up. Sync picking up another kill. Sync it out to the last Crusader 60. Very fresh in the situation, and having a fresh Crusader is a bit scary, but it's Sync and Gwen against the onslaught that is Sapper Squad with a kind of fresh runners to see how this Krail is. Krail is backshot, weak side torso. Alright, CT open. That Marauder is very fresh. That Marauder has a right torso open. Commander Sound is a little weak. Now, notice one thing for 2d20 is that both their Blackjack and their Wolfhound down. So, Commander Sound has to maybe be a little thoughtful in these fights. I mean, I don't think the caps are going to come into play, but if they do get picked, that's going to make it a little bit tougher to kind of harass the enemy. Alright, we do see Gwen being pushed on by the very fresh Marauder. Trying to get some damage out before they get put down. I mean, they got good damage on their right torso. Sync is now having to fight against a 1v4 situation. I mean, fairly beat up mechs, and Marauder being the freshest out of one. Sync trying to disengage the fight, trying to get some more Stone Nose damage out. Almost taking out the Raven in that exchange. However, Urine Day or Nate Day is pushing up aggressively, knowing that they have the armor to spread, knowing that the mech was playing for their fight. Sync does pick up the mech on the light, or the kill on the light mech. Commander Sound going down. Sync seem they can get themselves one more, spreading that damage everywhere, dropping down to 24%. Sync will not sink. They are not the stone. They are the thrill and terror of the battlefield. 20%, one touch CT. Can they pick up the kill on this Marauder? Oh, very close. Props to Sync, making that Crusader last for so long. And the Crusader 60 already a mech that got a little bit worse with some of the patches that happened a while back. Showing they did not care. Who needs armor when you could just kill things? All right, publishing stats. There you go for people who watch this VOD. If you forget it, they're right there. Let's try to check it real quick. 1,000 damage, Canadian Cyrus in the Marauder Foray. Great damage, a good farm. Those laser bombing mechs definitely showing up. Sync, though, not to be beat. 914 damage, 3 kills a name. Crusader 60, 2 snubs, bunch of smalls, doing the work. It was awesome to see it. It was cool to see those duels, though. I love the idea of bringing 6 LB20s. I know that Heavy Gospel is considered pretty good and pretty goated on them, but the LB20s might be objectively safer. Just because then you can at least get some damage on the enemy. You know, you can, if they are critted out, that's a lot of damage that just wrecked, you know, something with the internals. Oops. I did it again. Well, here we go. So we actually get to see, somehow, we get to see what 2d20 Savage Crew is bringing. Or, not Savage Crew, so sorry, Sapper Squad. We see a Zeus Skolomosh, we see a Hellspawn, an Atlas M, Fire Shooter, and a Raven. So, been pretty big 35-tonner light mechs, so they can deal with damage coming in, but also be pretty good scouters. 2 Atlases now. These are the new Atlases. These come with the Mask engine. Legal now because they're a C-bill available. So this is a very interesting, typically Brawl. Hellspawn, very quick medium, also typically Brawl. And Zeus Skolomosh, yet another Mask assault mech, also typically Brawl. So Sapper Squad looks like they are tired of doing this mid-range, long-range. I mean, definitely how they're showing it seems like they want to get in. So that does track for me. that they're tired of it. They want to just brawl. They want to get the fight started. So we already looked over pretty much what Sapper Squad is bringing. We're just going to check some of the builds so we can have a even better idea of what they're going to be bringing. Because they might be different. It might be... nope. Yeah, brawl. SRM-6 Artemis, small X-Pulse. I'm not seeing a lot of movement. Was there a hold call? Oh, they do have a hold. All right. Both teams have a hold. This is basically if the enemy has a, or somebody has a disconnect, no one moves in the team, everyone just waits until that person is able to reconnect, which will give us time to look at the mechs. So Tor is bringing 2 SRM-6, 4 air mediums to a skirmisher that is willing to brawl. Atlas is, oh, Cyrus bringing 4 smalls, 2 large, and 4 SRM-6 Artemis. And the Zeus Skolamash bringing 4 MRM-10, 2 Simas. So we have an interesting mid-range with some close-range capabilities. I mean, especially Scrappy Metal Can, which has a beautiful mech, I gotta say. Then the Firestarter and Raven bringing, with the Raven, 2 SRM-4s, 3 medium pulse, Firestarter, 8 small pulses. All right, let's quickly look at the enemy team. I keep saying enemy team, but I mean to say PSI Ristars. Let's see what they're going to do. I mean, they're red, so it's, it's easy to figure that out, right? All right, looking at the sheet already, we have IME and Osiris 1P. We have Mandalorian and Atlas as well, but the DC Atlas, we get some Bushwhacker X1s. Let's go by Snowman, Gwen Moraine, and Sync. And then we have Greg Jensen and the Fafnir 5e. Now, these are, yes, indeed, Brawl Bushwhackers. Oh, SRM, snub shows, mag shots, heavy machine guns, pretty much everything you could want. We get an interesting Fafnir build with 4 MRM-10, 2 Silver Bullet Goss. We have an Atlas with 2 LB-10, 3 SRM-6 Artemis, 2 light PPCs, and the Cyrus with 2 SRM-2, 4 heavy machine guns, and 2 small X-Pulse. Looks like their teammate was indeed able to get in, so now we will see the fight. And funny enough, both teams doing... I would say PSI Ristars is more brawly. Like, they definitely have a higher DPS threshold than 2d20 Sapper Squad. Well, Sapper Squad, again, has mid-range capabilities. And I guess back to Sapper Squad, they do have an extra mech that can scout for them. While the Cyrus 1P is going to be great at scouting, it's probably going to be needed for the fight. So, I don't know. I kind of have a little bit of money on PSI Ristars deck, just because I think that when these mechs teams clash, I think they have the higher DPS version. But those Atlases are tanky, so... Looks like we are going to see a Theta push. This is going to be pretty great to witness. Bushwhackers pushing in. They do see the mechs across the side. We have the Atlases spreading out a little bit. Bushwhackers slowing their push, waiting for their Fafnir and Atlas also to get. No, they're going straight in. They want Scrappy Metal Can. Now, Scrappy is the brawler of the Atlases for Sapper Squad. So it's going to be, well, it was going to be focus fire, but it looks like the Bushwhackers did get peeled off. They're focusing on the Zeus right now. Zeus seem to be tanking a lot of it. So right now it's a split fight with most of the Sapper Squad being able to pick off the Bushwhackers to the side. Scrappy fighting in a 1v1, and yeah, sure enough, I would think that the Bushwhacker has a better hard time in that fight. But not to be disappointed, the Atlas from Ristars has indeed gotten in. Shade Star Flame is able to pick up the Bushwhacker. Where is the Fafnir? Fafnir is still trenching in, taking advantage of its mid-range to help out. Snowman and the Bushwhacker left torso is 1. Loses the side torso, but still fighting on, as it should. Good old Bushwhackers never give up, never surrender. Alright, Scrappy Metal Can weathering a lot of Bushwhackers and a lot of Atlases, but still staying fresh. Now we now have it to where it is 2 mechs left by Sizedars. We have the MRM Silver Bullet, but unfortunately for this Fafnir, that is a pretty fresh Sapper Squad team coming in. Atlas is taking armor, Fafnir doing the damage, spreading their armor pretty well. Losing that side torso before their CT, so that was really well split with their armor. What's left for our Ristars is the Cyrus 1P. Now, the Cyrus 1P doesn't have long-range capabilities. They have some really good DPS capabilities, though. So if they can somehow catch some isolated mechs, preferably this Atlas, I would imagine. I mean, against all these mechs, the one that gives them the most challenging is probably the Firestarter. Because in a straight-up fight, the Firestarter would have the most burst damage against the Osiris, but the Osiris should be able to beat that Firestarter. But everyone else is very fresh. I mean, you don't want to be the last mech on the team and know you have 1 to 2 Atlases you have to deal with. Especially with them being mass Atlases on top of that. So Gamma, or Kappa's going to be flipped by I Am Wheat. so we can kind of keep themselves limited again. They did have the cap lead. Gamma is getting flipped by Sapper Squad right now, so this one cap lead is not going to be enough for Ristars. He will either have to secure a kill or secure more caps, and now that they've capped Kappa, that does give info and intel to the Sapper Squad where their last mech is. So it's going to be up to Sapper Squad to either control this mech from being able to get away, which Cyrus looks like they might be doing it. Again, with the 2 large lasers and smalls, at least have something that can range out and poke. Firestarter going in as well. The rest of the team can either sit on the Gamma cap, or they can take Theta. That way they can always have one mech somewhere and make the capping a little more difficult. But I like what Wheat's doing. Wing's trying to keep their team in the game. It looks like Sapper Squad is trying to also catch them. They know they didn't go left because they didn't see any vision where the Atlas was. So the assumption can be only to go right. And sure enough, Shade was able to scout out to find out where Iron Wheat is. So Iron Wheat try and disengage the fight. Maybe not to full disengage, but just disengage enough. So when they turn around to fight this, they know it's just going to be a 1v1. And sure enough, Iron Wheat is thinking about it and putting shots out. Now again, in this fight, I believe the Osiris wins. And it's going to come down to your good aim and, you know, decent component fire. At this point, maybe going CT is just better for Iron Wheat. I mean, that right torso is weak. The health threshold is going to make it to where Iron Wheat needs a sustained fire. Shay's, so not willing to take the 1v1 fight, taking some good damage. Legs getting really opened up. Does disengage for the Raven to come back into the fight. Raven is also willing to brawl, but also has ear memes. Firestarter comes back as well. We have an Atlas and Hellspawn coming up quick, so Iron Wheat either needs to get these picks and move on, or just run away entirely. Because it's not going to be too long before they're in a 1v4 situation. And there they go, jump jetting over, but now running into an Atlas Hellspawn with the Firestarter and Raven still harassing it. But Iron Wheat never to back down. Very brave, both legs open, still trying to see if they can pick up the Firestarter. The mech they had put damage on, but sadly they were not able to do it. And this will go to Sapper Squad for the match win. Again, there's 2 more drops for this one. The 2 drops are the biggest tonnage. So I believe PSI Ristars is going to come back hard and come back strong. And honestly, I would love to see it. You might think I would be rooting for just 2d20 teams, but I like good fights. And so far, they've been giving them, but I would like to see PSI Ristar come back with a win. PSI Ristar, I think it's such a name like 5 different ways, so I apologize in advance. Commander Cyrus, 855 damage. Pretty even damage amongst all of Ristars. Snowman, 304 damage with the Bushwhacker X1. That was the one that had to, I believe, fight the Atlas, or was like maybe the target of all the teams. Now, I didn't go over this map yet, but typically, again, if it's in a bigger format where it's not 6v6, long-range trade is usually pretty decent, pretty good, very controlling for this map. Dawkins seems to be the way to go, with a lot of teams playing this 3-line, which we'll see this is the ridge for it, and this whole other side between the ridge and the yellow rock is all the 3-line push. A lot of teams have been just going that pathing. We've seen a few teams on the opposite end of the ridge taking up these sniper positions on these 2 rocks here. Be curious to see that. Some brawl has happened. Either they push the 3-line or they rush to the Theta center. The caps in particular are the Theta cap, and then the Gamma cap over here to the side for Team 1, and Kappa cap over here for Team 2. You can see now why the 3-line is kind of special, why it gets utilized a lot, because this Kappa point is pretty much opposite of the Gamma point. So having a presence in this 3-line, being able to go back and forth to secure the caps can be pretty strong, especially if the teams bring any mobility. And speaking of teams, let's see what they bring to the table. We'll go ahead and check out, looks like PSI Ristars first. Let's see what they got for us. Ooh, I'm liking this already. We got some Thanatos' 5 Ts coming in. We got 6 SRM6 Artemis. We got 6 SRM6 Artemis. And guess what? Yep. 6 SRM6 Artemis. A lot of brawl. We got an Orion V8 running the typical AC20 SRM6 build. We got an Orion K, which is a little different. AC22 SRM4s, 2 subs PPC. And Orion M, bringing all the Orions for the most part. LB10, 2 stubs, 2 MRM10s. Orions have great armor for quirks, and the Thanatos are not slackers themselves. Again, no scouting force coming out of Ristars, but a lot of brawl. Now let's see what Sapper Squad is going to do. So Sapper Squad looks to be a little bit Daka. Spider 5K going out, running the, mag shot, some of those PPC. We got a Bull Shark 6 running 5 AC5s, 2 light PPCs. Shades Dark Flame taking an Overwatch position, potentially even using heat vision to see where there are. 2 UAC5s, 2 UAC2s. We got a Stalker 7D running rocket launcher, large laser, smalls, everything. We have a Longbow Nice bringing the 3 light PPCs, 6 light AC2s, and a 5 yard laser. So we have Daka or like mid-range Stalker with the Night Star and the Bull Shark. We have a long-range capabilities out of the Stalker and Champion. And with the longbow, we have 6 light AC2s. So better range, but not quite a long-range mech. So again, kind of a split force. And just to make sure the viewers at home are not freaking out incredibly, this spot, even though it shows out of bounds on the map, is actually part of the map. They will not get out of bounds and die for standing out here. So just know that for any of your maps or any people who play over here, you can be in this ground and not lose your mech due to it. All right, so we do see that out of Ristars, they are looking for a brawl. So they're trying to push towards Theta. See if they can get a cap out of this, potentially with the Theta cap. They did go for Kappa, so they will potentially have a 2-cap lead, and they will have an interesting decision on their mind. Now, their team is set up to brawl. They want to get in close, they want to do damage. With that said, with a 2-cap lead, they don't technically have to do any of that. They can wait for either a light mech to get in close, or they can, set up a position to maybe ambush something. So it's going to come down to this sole light mech out of Sapper Squad to maybe do something fancy here. Like, they could go for a side Kappa flip. They could just continue to do what they're doing, which I think is also good. They're feeding info, I would imagine, trying to let them know of where the position is going to be. That Spider potentially still getting scouting info. But it looks like, Ristars is fine with just sitting on this 2-cap lead and taking advantage of it. Sapper Squad seems to be equally as fine as of right now to just play the long-range game and not have to worry about it. They expect a brawl push, and so they're trying to keep eyes for it, probably relying on their light mech to get that info, to get the knowledge about it. We have Shady's Darkflame trying to poke the beast, trying to let them know that I see you. But the thing is that if Sapper Squad sits on this too much, because they're probably not sure what to do, if they let the Ristars 2-cap lead continue to grow, then it's going to be hard for them to pull this back. So it's going to be really up to this light mech to get into position to actually help out the team and get the second cap. Because if they can get cap out of this, that will force them to react. They're not going to get Theta. I think that should be a given. Now, the thing is, I was going to say, this team is going to know that the light mech is going that direction. So because they're going that direction, they're going to potentially try to cut it off. Which is correct. I think that's exactly what they should do. Especially since the Spider is rotating in a spot where they're not going to be able to be covered. So Sapper Squad, again, not really moving, not really setting up anything. It looks like Canadian Cyrus is trying to debate where they want to set up their team. Now the movement is starting to happen. So they're either going to try to make this fight happen, or what I don't know, there's a lot of things they could do. Like, they could try to set up in a better position to maybe harass, like, resubmit back towards the middle to kind of get shots on. I would like them to take the 2 line and then maybe try to get cap up that way. I'm not super excited about where the light mech is right now. I'm worried that light mech might get picked, given I think they have the mobility to get around most of these mechs. I'm not sure how fast the Tenno's 5Ts, but considering the Orions were keeping up, I guess it can't be that fast. Maybe around 70 kph. But again, the more time Sapper Squad uses, or I wouldn't say waste, but they're waiting for something to develop. Both these teams want something to develop. But again, Stars is winning. Now, we do see that... Yeah, okay, good. So Sapper Squad is finally making use of that. I was surprised that Funky was able to make this play. I assumed that their BattleMechs or Orions would at least come out to deny this, because if they're going to go for any caps, it's going to be Kappa. Now, Kappa is fully grabbed, or like it's fully capped, so Ristars should have the time and info to reposition for this, and it looks like they were already thinking about that, as to the Thanatos and Orion were already kind of making their way. Now, damage firepower did come at them. Yeah, the blue laser from the champion, I believe, is doing some damage, watching them cross, watching the press. Now, this is going to be an interesting thought for them, because either they go deny Kappa, or, knowing where that blue laser trade mech is, and where some of these mechs are, they might just call the push. The push would be a little scary. I mean, they have a limited cover offered to them in these rocks right here, getting them closer to get to the straight line to try to get to this champion. But it's funny. It's like now it's back to Ristars to make themselves back at a win con. I think they managed to get some mechs away. They're keeping some of Theta, so they don't have to worry about the cap. Spider 5K is going to need to get out. Sync took the brunt of that damage crossing over. Getting a good shot on Funky as they get away. Now, Funky going down would be pretty devastating. But here's the thing. So, Ristars, still in the point lead, now getting their Kappa back. So again, Sapper Squad, they took the cap, but they're not able to defend it. They have a champion 3M that should, because again, this is a 5 blue laser. It is the 5 blue laser. It looks like they might be going to that position to try to deny it now, but they're going to have to take that cap back, or they're going to need to commit to the Theta, which Ristars wants that. They're ready for that kind of push. But I think Ristars not going to make the same mistake this time. They're going to keep some mechs over here by Kappa so they can stay in the lead. So again, 8 minutes left on the clock. Ristars playing this pretty intelligently, playing this really smart, forcing Sapper Squad to make the first mistake. I mean, as far as like, and also not peeking. I find that it is a very common thing, is that people get antsy, they want to get some damage, even if it's just LB10 ammo at far ranges, and they expose and take unfavorable trades. But gotta give it credit. Snowman, Gwen, like I know you just took some damage, but you're also trying to make sure that your guys can get back if they need to. Not a lot of damage being taken, so well played. Looks like Funky is now thinking about trying to take Theta. It does get spotted for it and does get shot at by it, so they will know. Shays Darkflame looking to maybe engage on this. The thing is that Shays does not want to be here. Soon as this happens, they have no reason not to just full send on this Night Star. They know blue laser is still coming off from the side. There's nothing really protecting this Night Star right now. I mean, maybe that Stalker has... Oh, the Stalker does have some Overwatch in this. Funky getting that scouting. No UV coming out. Not in a great spot. Definitely does not want to be there. Right leg is open. They need to just get out of that. Here we go. Here's the called push for that Night Star, which is what I think Ristars should do right now. They have the point lead, but this is what they've been waiting for. They want their brawlers to not be in a bad spot and then engage. Well, here you go. Shays Darkflame taking a lot of damage, taking overheat damage. Very weak, now having to pull away from this engagement to stay alive. And what's happening? Time is being bled. Ristars is still in the lead, only about 300 points away from winning the match off of points alone. And 2d20 has not secured the second cap. Shay's still trying to pull it back, but does get taken down eventually. It looks like they brought the champion and the stalker down to help deal with this. And again, these mechs do have a lot of docket capabilities. It would have been nice to see these mechs down in the beginning, considering the fight. Because again, not a lot of time. Because, again, just to remind everybody at home how the rules work, is that there are 3 caps you can take over. If you kill the enemy team, you can take more caps. So, at this point, Sapper Squad needs to hopefully kill the enemy, get the caps back on their side, and maybe even take an extra cap to win this match. All that Ristars has to do is not peek, take their time. They need to take Theta, they need to take Kappa. They all know that one of the light mechs, or the only mech seen being Funky, is still here. Alright, Mando, feeling that the enemy team is getting a little too close, did call the push, which is not bad either. I mean, that's 5-yard laser champion, does not want to be brawling against that many SRM6 Artemises. Right, left torso ready to pop. Still somehow staying alive. Funky getting a little stuck in as well. I think they might have gotten legs for that. They do go down. We do have 2 BattleMechs finally ready to put out the firepower. The BattleMechs out of Sapper Squad need to just push up. Because the time is not their friend right now. Soccer 7Ds still staying alive as well. Looks like the Cyrus and the champion was able to peel back a little bit. I mean, that it's a little scary for Ristars right now because, again, they don't need to be peeking. They are taking a decent amount of beating for these pushes. But, I mean, they are running Orions. Orions can definitely take that armor, or shave that armor if they don't want to. There we go. Finally, someone takes out the champion. Sapper Squad, again, have 2 fresh BattleMechs. I mean, oof. I don't know. Ristars doesn't need to be doing this. I mean, they feel the blood in the water. They're feeling aggressive, and I don't blame them from that. But I think they're underestimating 2 fresh BattleMechs for late game. With that said, Sapper Squad needs to be pushing in. Like, I don't think Ristars should be pushing in. Sapper Squad needs to be pushing in. Because they need to get these kills now. Wow, look at those percentiles. Gwen just tanking it all. Down to 2 SRM6s. They were able to get committed out, but not before. They were also able to scoop up 1. Nate was able to get Gwen Moraine. We have Greb Johnson also in there, Ryan, dropping down to 37%. High roller, though, exploding a bit. High Roller dropping down to 61%, but still has the side torso. Does get the kill on that one. Look at these Thanatos on the left. How bad is the Bull Shark? Bull Shark kind of beat up, but again, looks like we did get the side torso off. Just 2 SM6s. Oh, there we go. I mean, Ristars, you made me nervous. I didn't think this was going to be a good call, being so aggressive, but considering what you just did, Sapper Squad, well played. I mean, look at those percentiles. So beat up. But you know what? Actually, not that bad. Like, Snowman, 60%, not opened anywhere. Definitely took some overheat from the exchange. But Sync, though, only losing a side torso, still good in the fight. Yeah, it was really cool to see. Look at that damage. Oh, 806 out of Snowman and Thanatos. Yeah, did some great work at the end. 819 damage out of Bull Shark 6. Well done, Nate Day. I'm very excited about these casts. I actually was able to... First week, none of the 2d20 teams got casted, so this second week I wanted to make a point to make sure that at least my sister teams got casted. And we got Nuisance Navigators and Sapper Squad casted and done, so... Apparently there was maybe a jumping the gun in the launch, but I can't imagine Sapper Squad being too worried. Let's see what these teams bring. So again, last game, Theta was pretty important. I mean, the side caps were as well. Like that push that was kind of happening for, again, holding that low ground, not giving out info, not giving armor. Super clutch. All right, here we go. Final match, final drop. Let's see what these teams are bringing us. What's the show going to be? So coming up, PSI Ristars, we're seeing some pretty cool mechs. So sure enough, we do see the Bull Shark running 4 AC2, 2 Rack 5. You got a King Crab, 3 SR2, 4 Rack 2s. Marauder 3R running 2 heavy PPCs, 2 medium expulse. What a fun build. And Marauder 3R over here running 1 light PPC, 2 light PPCs, 3 light AC5s, and a PPC. Another Marauder running 2 light PPCs, a PPC, and 3 light AC5s. I mean, I'm a big fan of light 5s. We do see a quick mech coming out of this drop, being the Cyrus One Piece. So we're seeing out of PSI Ristars kind of a mid-rangey, dockety kind of type. Now, coming out of Sapper Squad, we got some urban mech action. Large pulse 8 smalls on the new urban mech that came out. Spider 5K, once again, snub nose 4 max shots. Now let's see what the main tonnage of this one, and gosh darn it, we have some more DACA. 5 AC5, 2 light PPCs, High Roller, and the Annihilator. We got Bull Sharks, that one being 4 medium pulls, 6 light AC2s. We have another Annihilator, 5 AC5, 2 light PPCs, and lastly, another Bull Shark running 5 light AC2s and 4 medium pulls. So going for a little more sustained with the light AC2 builds. Wanting to be, I mean, with the medium pulses, they don't mind pushing, but they want to be able to farm from long range. And light AC2s, while not as long as AC2s, still get a little more distance on AC5s. And in this particular matchup, so I'm going a mile a minute, those Marauders are bringing LAC 5s. And so those LAC AC2s will outrange the LAC 5s. So it's going to be coming down to, I guess, the RAC 2s and the 4 AC2s out of this mech. So PSI Ristars has a little bit of a range advantage. It's not quite a bit. They brought themselves 5 BattleMechs, while to Sapper Squad, they brought themselves 4 BattleMechs with a Spider and Urban Mech Escort Wolfpack. With this said, Sapper Squad does have the Theta cap. They're not really protecting it. They did not opt to get the Kappa flip. I don't know if their light mechs are going to go back forward, or they're just not worried about it. Looks like they're wanting to get the fight in. The light mech is going towards Kappa. Looks like right now both teams are kind of wanting to receive this. I mean, definitely we see that at PSI Ristars, as they're set up to be on this side flank to swap over if they need to. Now the Dogger mechs, again, the Rack 2s are going to be pretty devastating for them. We do see kind of a push coming out of Sapper Squad as they want to make this push happen, putting out their DACA versus Rack Fire DACA and light AC5s. And the 4 AC2s out of the Bull Shark is going to be pretty nice for the 2 Rack 5s. It's a lot of DPS. Getting a little bit hung up on each other, but that's not too bad. We do see, I mean, you're in Nate Day dropping down to 85 or 70, 72%. Those racks doing a lot of damage. Definitely the call, target, and focus fire. CT is ready to go, and there it goes. One last shot. I mean, these Dogger mechs are trying to get in. The light mechs need to be a lot more forward if they want to be able to make this push happen. We see the Spider and Urban Mech pretty far back, trying to make sure they don't get hit by the light mech, I'm sure, from the rear. But the light mech just took Theta. and these BattleMechs need to be pressured. Ristars is doing pretty good focus fire as of right now. The Rack Mech's definitely getting a lot of work. That King Crab, though, Larry Torso's open. Here comes the Aceras 1P, very late to the party, but not late enough to get some damage out. Looks like the Spider is trying to ignore the Marauders, trying to get some shots in. The Urban Mech is having to deal with the Aceras in the back, but Shade Dark Flame is indeed going to go down. Cyrus also trying to deal with the Aceras in the back. Spider coming back to help with that. Cyrus is going to go down. High Roller, the last Daka Mech out of Sapper Squad left alive, is opened all over, trying to get damage, but those, again, the high rack DPS doing a lot of work. Funky the Salsa is able to pick up the Aceras, so there is no quick mechs coming out of PSI Ristars, and it's just quick mechs coming out of Sapper Squad. Urban Mech is going to have to try to stay alive now. I mean, that King Crab is beat up. There is a world where this Urban Mech does kill that King Crab. One-shot CT. In fact, Funky comes in to finish it off. We do see fire coming out of Scrappy. Scrappy's super beat up. The Light Mech and the Spider having to like keep moving and keep putting out shots. That Urban Mech cannot be long for this roll. Dropping into 42%. Funky moving, diving, trying to keep on sowing chaos. The Urban Mech is now in. Losing lanes is finally going down. Funky, I believe, does get legged and gets taken down as well. But for a last stand engagement, that Wolfpack did some work in that last fight. So that was kind of cool. That was fun to see. But yeah, I mean, it was just more Daka coming out of PSI Ristars versus less Daka. So that fight went about what I would expect. Rabbit and that King Crab 4 rack 2 is doing 805 damage. Those racks getting a lot of good value. Pretty decent damage out of Sapper Squad and very even damage numbers. Nate being the first one to be focused out, so don't feel too bad about that one. Someone had to be the call target, and it looked like it was going to be you. I think that Sapper Squad probably didn't need to be as spread out when they made the engagement. If they were a little more huddled up, at least the damage could have been focused on one target for them, and that would have been pretty ideal. But with that said, I mean, again, more Daka, more mechs is, well, more good. And PSI Ristars, you did not disappoint. You brought that back, as I kind of had a feeling you were doing it. You had the momentum building, and you were making good plays in the early drops. It just sometimes you just got hard countered. But that's the beauty of this last drop. When it gets to the last drop, there's just only so much you can do in these maps that feels good, and Daka just seems to be the knee jerk of it all. With that said, again, you made that brawl push look good, so congratulations. That was awesome.
On the blackjack.
Black Knight CT.
Hunchback pushing center.
I'm on the bull shark. I need help.
Delta. Marauder.
Taking fire from the stalker on the ramp.
Switching back to Delta. Delta's back in cover.
Trying to headshot.
Guys, I'm under a ton of fire here.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get there. Jeez, give me a minute.
I'm overheating. My mech's gonna cook.
I totally hit that thing.
Please push up.
Alright,
Got
UAV
me
up.
Mike to your left.
Wait, coming.
Damage.
PT open soccer.
Surprise!
UAV down.
Oh, there's
On the Marauder.
Got a UAV above you stuff.
Side torso open on the Vindicator.
Strikes out on the Marauder.
Right corner target.
Yep.
Wolfhound or the Vindy. There you go.
Go down.
Focus on Delta. Marauder.
Is this black knight down?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think it's just the Vindicator.
On back.
Side torso.
You're mine.
Ooh.
Is
Side
it
torso
pod
off.
racing?
Here, I'll walk in front and protect you. I got you. I'll say. Ah, you still on kill.
Jeff is down.
Drop on the hill.
Visual left.
Okay,
Visual
Daka back,
left.
second 3.
Visual left.
Hey, commandos, we're gonna push in. Squirrel them.
Got two commandos running around in the
Leg.
Going for the foxtrot. Hiding behind.
Gotta get in there. Come on.
Oh.
Yep, trying to get up there.
There we go.
The mauler.
Going to the lights.
Hey, trying to
Got
score the
the
mauler.
rides.
Got Foxtrot right behind us, running around, causing some issues.
Oh, there we go.
Echo.
Keep trying to squirrel him.
Commando, both torsos open. The Epsilon chargers here.
Work on
Would
the
like to-
torso of Echo up close.
Jeff's down.
Still on the Mauler. Who's left? Echo CT.
Well, left leg,
I'll go
left
right
leg.
Right leg now.
Right leg.
Watch your heat.
Working on the last charger.
Alpha.
Go for last charger.
Right leg.
Down.
Oh, the commando's still here. Get it.
One left.
You'll never take me alive.
Legs on Foxtrot. Good kill.
Alright guys, take Theta.
It's
Seems
quiet.
a little quiet.
Ambush to our left. On Alpha.
Doctor, we need Overwatch now.
Overwatch her.
They're all over us.
Side torso alpha.
Yep.
I just lost an arm. Where the hell is that scrappy?
Already on the trash can. I'm behind Corsair.
What? There's something on me.
Corsairs about to be gone. Bit of salt, Mech. Too slow to do anything.
Hop.
I'm down.
I'm good. Alright, where are the other ones?
Moving on Theta. I've got no visual.
Something has fallen into our trap.
We got him. Let's go.
Destroy it.
See Alpha coming back up with Firestarter.
Retreat back to
There's
Echo
enemies
5.
here. I need help.
Starter.
He's alone.
Retreat back to Echo 5, please.
Alright.
This little flea won't get away from us.
Sweet, hard left.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh. Minions, destroy them.
Going for it.
Push their legs.
Right leg.
One left, Osiris.
You fool. Worthless health these days.
Four House Steiner.
You're hot in here.
Pushing up top.
Oh crap, they're up
Left
here.
Side primary.
On Charlie, Archer.
Who's on Alpha?
Change targets. Bull shark is right on top of us.
It's switching Bull Shark.
Back to Alpha.
Bravo Bull Shark.
Ah!
There we go.
You're hot in here.
That was good. That was perfect. All right, and that's a wrap. We did it. Yay!